Well, as many will know already, this is my 1958 Triumph Tiger Cub, which I've owned since 1977, and taken quite a few rides and videos of rides on it, and other little articles such as covering engine top end work and stuff like that. Anyway, today I thought we'd conduct a sort of experiment of sorts, in that there's a lot of talk lately about ethanol in fuel and E5 and E10, and I noticed a couple of weeks ago when I took my Honda CB500T out for a run, I stopped at the local filling station, and I never really even looked before, but I noticed that it said on the pumps E10. So I filled the tank of the Honda up with E10, rode it, and got well over 65 miles to the gallon out of it, and no hiccups, no problems of any sort that I could think of. And I thought, well, this bike, the Tiger Cub, was last used on the 2nd of June this year, 2022. It's now the 28th of July, so I think we can say 2 months since I ran it, because the last time I rode it was in a video where I went round all sorts of local lanes through local villages and so on, that some may have seen. And basically it was filled up at the local filling station back then. Now, it would have definitely been E5 petrol back then, possibly and very likely even E10, so that's what it's got in it, at least E5. I suspect E10. I wish I'd looked at the pump when I filled it. There it is, it's still quite full, and this bike hasn't been started or even moved for 2 months. So I'm going to put the camera down now and we'll see what happens. I think, let's check the battery. Yeah, we've still got a charge in the battery. We've got the supposedly crappy old original Zenith carburettor on it, which some people seem to think never worked properly when they were new. Let's give it a go. I'm going to put the choke on. That's full choke, that's half choke, and that's off. We'll start with full choke. I don't need to tickle the float chamber, although there is a tickler there. It never seems to need that. Turn the fuel on. There we go. I'm going to put the camera down here now and see if it'll start, shall we? Hopefully we can see the bike there. Just going to free the clutch. There we are. Ignition on. Going to go from full choke to half choke. Interestingly, we had a drip from the fuel tap there, which it sometimes did before anyway. What I'll do now, it's warming up. I'll knock the choke right off. Okay, the choke is off. I'll also turn the fuel tap off for a moment. Back on. Right, that's after 2 months standing idle. After agitating the fuel tap plunger a couple of times, it was dripping from there. That seems to have settled. In fact, just to make absolutely sure, here's a tissue. All looks alright to me. Obviously, there's a bit of smoke there, it wet sumped because it stood for 2 months. The bottom of the fuel tank hasn't rotted out. The plastic float and plastic float needle in the Zenith carburettor are obviously okay and haven't stuck or dissolved. All good news for me and this little bike anyway. There we are, nice and dry there now. So that's after 2 months of standing idle with, at the very least, a tank full of E5 petrol, more than likely E10. So I'm not going to get into the sort of ifs and buts and politics and maybes and whatnots, but that's what we got with this bike after 2 months, just as perhaps some sort of yardstick to keep an eye on, but at the moment everything seems fine.